So the topic is about sorry, creating an effective CV resume. So most of you, I don't know if you have already joined my session. I told the importance of a perfect CV that is needed for the job hunting in the beginning of your journey. So just raise your hands, and in the chat session, you can also send me a message if I'm missing out on anything. Okay, so let's just start it. So we're going to explore the step-by-step guide that in the entry level, because most of you, I assume, are students and are going to apply for the jobs for different roles, and how you can use ChatGPT to create your first CV or to improve the CV you already have. So we're going to understand ChatGPT to make it very simple because we're going to use AI. So I would make sure that most of you know ChatGPT already, and it's going to be a very simple task for you to do instead of going onto other platforms. So I think ChatGPT is going to be the easier one. So I have ChatGPT with me, and step by step, I'm going to tell you that how you can change your CV into a something that the recruiters like, into something that the ATS would generate a good score. Because I, being a resume writer and a HR professional, I know that job hunting is very difficult for most of the students in the beginning of their journey. So most of them don't even know that what could be the basic essentials for a proper CV. So I'm going to share the details with you, some essential parts that you have to consider. What could be the most important area that you have to consider while creating a CV? So I'm going to share my CV with you to make you better understand that. Just give me a second. No, my laptop is not working when I'm sharing my screen. I don't know what happens with it. Anyways, it's opening. So I have two CVs to share. This is something like an entry-level student CV, although it says 20 years of experience. So, so this is my CV. And in the beginning, I was looking for the roles in HR and office administration. So this is something I created. And I have experience of, like, you can say 3 to 4 years of experience, which I have to mention in a proper manner. So this is something I created on my own without the use of ChatGPT. But the purpose of showing you this CV is to make you understand what could be the crucial areas and what things you have to consider while creating your CV. So you guys already know or not, but the summary is the most crucial area of your CV, because most of the recruiters, they do not spend time on reading all of your CV, going through all the details. You have to make sure that in the summary you are adding most of it, but in a manner that it describes the required skills. I would repeat, the required skills, because sometimes people are creating very general CVs, adding anything into it, like I'm capable of doing hard work, I work out of the box, I do this and that. But these are not general, these are not specific skills. So the HR and the ATS, they're always looking for something specific. In my HR, I came across multiple links where I saw that the 360 recruitment is very the skill that is required in most of the jobs. So I knew that skill. Then I added it in a way that it says that I know 360 recruitment and I could be a very good support in doing this with the managers. So remember that I am starting my work as in the middle level of my professional, or in the beginning, somewhere in the middle and the beginning. So it's not like I have been working as a HR for like 5 years. So I have experience of HR for 2 years, and as a resume writer, it's 6 years. So it's kind of like a multiple experience. So while you will be creating your summary section, you have to make sure that you are going to focus on most important 3 to 4 roles or the job links. So, for example, if you are interested in a company, your friend tells you that there is a vacancy in a company, and you say, okay, this sounds great. I think I want to work here. So, what you're going to make sure that the requirements they have in their job application or whatsoever, but you have that everything perfectly managed and written in your CV. So there would be times when you would come across the reality that the skills that are required, you don't have them by now. So what are the key things that has to be considered when you don't have the relevant skill? The most important thing is that, of course, if you would be applying in a role, you must have something to show. Could be your courses, could be your qualifications. You might have done some projects before, you might have got any trainings, or you got any certifications or diploma. So it's not like you're going to be blank and then you're going to apply for the role. You don't have experience, you have no qualifications, because that gets really tricky. Even though when some of my clients come to me and they ask me that they don't have anything to show, then I just educate them that you can at least get something, some qualifications in terms of courses, certifications. So there are multiple certifications available on internet that you can get. Sorry, just give me a moment. So you can get that certification online for free, or for whatsoever you think is better for you. So you know your field and you have to master. You have to add anything into it. So the summary should not be more than, make sure the summary should not be more than 5 lines, because recruiters, they do not have enough time to go through each and every details, and they should not be something uh, linked to your role, but being very general. If you would say, for example, if somebody, me being targeting in HR role, and I'm saying that managing or handling emails, handling paperwork and something like that. So it is something that we can say it links to the HR role, but it's not something really uh, that will give a wow factor, and something that is not required uh, in the requirement section. For you have to go through the requirement section, you have to see what skills are being repetitive there, and you have to make sure the repetition of the skills are something that they desire the most, so you're adding them. Even though if you don't have that certain skills, so you can do something like I did. It says strong ability to manage office tasks, because I have never been an office administrator, but I have done something, you can say, nearly that is relevant to office administration. So, what I did, I said that I have strong ability. I'm not saying that I have strong skills, competencies, or something like that. I am saying I am able to do these operations, which I haven't done. So, you have to be uh, uh, very careful here. You cannot say that I have certain these skills, I'm expert, my expertise are in this, I'm specialized in this. If you don't, if you are not, so you can start by saying strong ability to do this, qualified in certain areas. So you can see that I got the relevant qualification. You can start if you do have a relevant certification or qualification. You can simply start your summary saying by saying that, like, I have this particular qualification that is for this role, which is CIPD level 7 qualified professional. So if you have relevant degree or if you have relevant certification, you can start your summary by saying certified professional resume writer with broad experience or broad understanding in doing this, and that. So, how we can do it using Chat GPT? This is what I'm going to tell you. So, you have to make sure if you have certain links, for example, I'm going to show that how we can get those links. I'm looking for the job in HR, so I'm going to just take 3 links, some random links to make you understand how you can create a summary based on the skills you have or the roles you want to target, the qualification you already have. Just let me make sure that the Chat GPT or AI is not always going to be 100% right, but it's something going to help you in a way to start your journey. Because I know most of the students, they come to me and ask for my help or services, and sometimes I'm like, okay, but they are not able to pay for that because they are in the beginning of their journey. So this session is to help you and make you um, enable you to create a CV on your own in terms of any issues if you would have. And I also have a template to show you. I would do it later on. First, we're gonna get some links. For example, is HR jobs in Birmingham. So I'm living in UK, and Birmingham is my city. And I think that, for example, if this is managerial role, I'm not looking for managerial roles at the moment, but this is an example to show you how you can get those links and get the job done. So you have to combine each information you have that is relevant to the targeted role. Now, whether your experience, you might would many of you would have some experience, like 1 to 2 years of experience, or many not. So it depends. So you're going to get the links, and if you're not being able to get the links, you can simply get the responsibilities, get them, copy, create a Word file, say that it's a targeted role, role number 1. When I say that, you're going to paste it here. So the targeted role. So we are creating a Word file where we are going to give ChatGPT a command that what do we want ChatGPT to do. But then before, we have to have our all the information combined. This is the second link, which I think that I'm interested. And this is similar to my work. I'm going to simply copy that, and I'm going to simply paste it again. I think what I'm telling you is making proper sense. If you have any questions so far, I would try my level best to respond to them. I'm not able to see if any hands are raised or something like that. So you can simply just message in the chat section. So this is role number 2. Sorry, not responsibilities, role number 2. So it could be only one role, it could be two roles, it depends. So for example, we're going to go with the two roles that I'm interested in these type of jobs, and these are the roles that best tells my targeted roles or opportunities I'm looking for. And then if I already have a summary, I assume most of you might would not have a CV so far, but if you still do have a CV, so you can simply get the summary you already have. But I'm not going to copy this because this is already a crafted version. So I'm going to leave it as it is, and I'm going to tell ChatGPT what qualifications I already have. So this is my career highlights. So since I have not very much experience in HR, but as a resume writer, I have extensive experience, and HR and resume writing goes a bit side by side. So I try to make sure that to stand out in HR field, I'm adding everything that has supported me in that particular role as a CV writer or a resume writer. So I added things here that could be eye catchy. So it's the memberships, it's my certification, it's me being a LinkedIn influencer. So in HR field, you're gonna work on LinkedIn so much, you're gonna post the jobs and everything. So it could be an edge. So you have to be very smart here. The what things you should add and what things you would say that they're not gonna add very much of the weight in your CV. But if you don't have anything to add, so make sure that you're not excluding any part. So I added all the key clients I worked with to make sure recruiters know that I know this field. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy my professional experience. I'm going to copy my professional experience, which I already have. I'm not copying my summary section because we are going to create one. Because as I already told you that ChatGPT is not 100% accurate at times. So when you add your summary in the command section to the ChatGPT, already the summary you created, most of the times ChatGPT use that summary and just make a bit of the changes. So it's kind of like using the same thing and just adding up a little bit of the spice of its own. So it's my professional experience. When I'm working for my contractors, most of them they do not allow using ChatGPT, but some of them they do. So this is the techniques we use to extract some information from ChatGPT and then change it. You sometimes don't have to copy paste everything, but to make sure that you're changing a bit. So this is my professional experience. I already added the targeted roles that this is I'm targeting. Then my you can simply copy paste everything from your CV and then simply paste it there. So this is my education and certifications. I kind of have a flu, so maybe education, my education. So this is what we have. We're going to copy each and everything. We're going to go to the chat GPT. And it's there's no hard and fast rule that there's some particular prompts for that that I would have to give you. You can simply go to the chat GPT, tell chat GPT you are going to be my resume writer and you are going to create an entry level because you have to tell that tell ChatGPT that you're going to create an entry level or managerial level or whatsoever level of the because I have the links or the responsibilities of different roles. They are managerial and all, but then the chat GPT would understand the level of summary we need because it's not like the summary you create once can be used in any level. For example, you would create the CV now, and after 5 years, if you're going to apply for the managerial role, you would say that this is the same field, I can use the same CV. No, with each and every level, you have to update your CV. What I would suggest you guys keep on updating your CV based on the changed scenarios, based on your changed roles, whatsoever is the reason. You cannot only use one CV for everything. So this is something we can cover step by step. So you're going to say that you to create an entry level CV. So first command would be please create two versions of summary based on the information provided below.
I suggest that everybody take a picture of this or a screenshot because this prompt is going to be gold for you. Okay, back to Syeda.
No problem. Yeah, you can do that. So please create two versions of summary based on the information provided below. Keep in mind the targeted roles mentioned and the skills required. So, so let's assume these are the roles that I'm targeting. And I think that I have experience or skills for like 50 to 60%, which they already require. So if in the summary section you come to see that this is something I don't have at the moment, you're going to change the language a bit. So it's like the chat GPT and you're some a human aspect to it. So you cannot simply copy paste it. You just have to make sure that you're making some tweaks to make recruiters look like the human has made it, because no matter what, the HR professional, they still prefer something created by humans or that is making you stand out, something like that. So then you're simply going to paste everything that you have in your word section. Simply, let's see what ChatGPT would do. On the basis of that, we're going to make some changes. So you can create different versions. That could be version number 1, 2, 3. If you would like that, I don't like the summary that ChatGPT created. You can ask ChatGPT to create something else. So sometimes the ChatGPT would create something really extensive for you. You can skip the information. You can add something. You can go on the internet and look for some soft skills and hard skills required for the role. So it's going to take a while for you, but I think to land the job you desire, you have to do some efforts in that particular manner. So this is summary, which I think is the good, and there's the second version. Now, based on my best understanding of my own experience or journey or qualifications on the targeted role, I'm going to decide that what is the best, which suits my role. So first version says that are detailed oriented and highly motivated. So I would suggest you to not to add so much spice in your CV. Just be very specific. So I know that I am CIPD qualified level professional, so I'm going to start simply with that. I'm not going to say that detailed oriented and this and that. So it's, when recruiters start reading your summary, they would look into the specific skills. They're not going to look into the spices we are generally adding. So they're going to look something that I can do. So it's not like I'm like just building things up. So I have to make sure that everything makes sense to them, because they're going to be the decision maker. And with a strong foundation in recruitment, it says strong foundation. That is not right. So I'm going to make a bit of the changes there. With a strong understanding or with broad experience in recruitment. Broad, so if you have very extensive experience, you can add experience, or simply you can add 2+ years of experience in recruitment. That's it. You have to be transparent here. You're not going to add anything that you don't know, and when the recruiter would ask you, that would be embarrassing. So there's and backed by extensive experience in CV writing. So this is something really nice that ChatGPT told me, that backed by my CV experience. So there's something where I can fit my CV experience here. So it could be anything. Demonstrate experience in advising. So we're going to just change a bit here. For example, strong ability in advising job seekers. So when the recruiter would see that, they would know that I have the ability based on my qualifications and based on my certifications or based on my broad experience. But I cannot say that I have very good skills in that. Make sure that this is entry level CV that we're creating, assuming that you are students and you're going to need. But if you already have experience, you're going to simply copy it and paste it, making some tweaks into it. So the chat GPT has covered most of it. ATS compliance, holds a master's in this and that. So when I would simply start with CIPD level professional, I won't be adding this because it's like repetition of the same thing again and again. Having the certification, having the master's degree, it's kind of the same things, coupled with hands-on experience in this. So that's nice. And then, in the summary section, we have this strategy that in the end, we're going to talk about something relevant to the soft skills, because in every role, they need some hard skills. Hard skills are those skills that are required to do the certain role. For example, mechanical engineer would need something that has to do with mechanics. So he cannot simply add good communication skills, time management, and all. You have to add very relevant, specific skills that is required for the role. So these are the hard skills. And at the end, you would know that in HR, the communication is a good thing. So it's kind of like a hard and soft skills, but mainly soft skill. So you're going to end up your summary with something the soft skills, and it's going to give you an edge that instead of having the relevant specific expertise, you do also have some soft skills in there. So we're going to add this, and I think this one is the perfect. And I don't know, skilled in managing employer records and all. And all. If you think that this is something I don't have and I don't want to add it, you can simply skip it. But ChatGPT is going to give you something that you can make edits on instead of doing anything. Uh, First of all, let me tell you this. I have seen and came across many CVs in my journey which says objective in the beginning. There's no as such thing that says objective, and in the professional job market, nobody uses it. Nobody is interested in your objective. That what are your objective for this? They just want to see a summary based on what you did and you can do for the role. That's it. So never add objectives or something like that, that I am targeting this, my ambitions is this. No, that's not going to work for you. So we're going to take this one, and you would have to. This is this is the template that I would prefer in the beginning. You have to make sure that this is not just black and white, but it is ATS compliant. So this is one of the templates that I use for my clients. So you're going to simply add the summary here. So this is the template I'm using to make you understand how you can create one. And there are a lot of templates available on internet. You're going to make sure that you are choosing something ATS compliant. I don't know if most of you know, ATS compliant is applicant tracking system, which is used by most of the companies whenever you are applying for a job. Not the human are going to read all the applications. They are going to get those applications screened by a software, and based on the skills you have and are required, that software would generate a score. So if you won't have enough of the keywords, why did I say that I'm going to add the ability to do this by while adding those expertise required for by the employers, is because they're looking for certain keywords in your CV, that do you have this certain skill or do you have that certain expertise, and based on that they're going to generate a score. For some companies, they get set the criteria that they are going to entertain the applicants who has created 60% of the score or 50% or 40 whatsoever. So it depends on the criteria. Most of them have 70% or 80% of that. So we're going to make sure that we are adding enough of the keywords. So this is what we're going to do and making changes. I'm not going to show you every change because I have to cover all the areas. You're going to write your name here, saying whatsoever is your name, and then you're going to add the targeted role. Always remember that you are creating different versions of your CVs if you are applying for some different roles. If you are a supply chain management student or whatsoever, and then you're are looking for the job in supply chain internship, supply chain supporting roles, then you're going to add that role here. But if you are going to apply for something different than that, but a bit relevant, you have to create a different version of the CV. So you're not going to create a general CV or one CV and going to apply for different roles, because when you are in the beginning of your journey applying for roles, you are uh, trying to seize any opportunity comes in your way, and it's not like you're going to set a target that I'm not going to go beyond this, because I know you are going to go beyond that. So you're going to say, okay, I am open to certain roles. So you have to create different versions of your CV, and you're going to create the summary the way I told you. So for example, if in HR I'm doing this and I say that I also want to apply for uh, office administration, you can see that I have created and combined the roles, but that is sometimes linked, and I can also separately create those CVs. So I would suggest you to create the separate versions of your CVs, because it's going to help you a lot, and that is going to generate good ATS score. If you would combine them and there would be combination of two different roles and expertise, So in the ATS, they won't be generating any score, and the recruiter would find it very difficult to identify the specific skills they are looking for the specific role. So this is you're going to add your summary section. You're going to add your phone number here, your email, and your LinkedIn profile. I would also the one thing which is missing here is the address. So you're going to add your address, not the home address, because most of the times the the clients are adding their street address and all. You simply are going to add the city, state, that's all. Or if you have a zip code or postcode that you think I have to add it and it's essential, you can do that. So we have to keep it clean and neat. And then you can see that it's the 6 lines. So I'm going to make sure that it's not more than the 5 lines. So I'm going to make a bit of the tweaks here. So this is up to you. You can make the changes as I guided you. You don't have to add a lot of spice like this. You can simply start it. For example, if you're a graphic designer, you can start with the creative, because when it comes to designing and something, creativity is the key. So you can start by saying, if you don't have any relevant qualification or certifications, you can simply start it by saying creative professional. Or if you're doing a job in the IT section, you can say tech savvy professional and that. So you have to be very creative here, and you have to make sure that you're being relevant, not adding buzzwords, not adding a lot of information, because simply the HR, they don't like reading a lot of the words. They're looking for something specific. Now, how would we get the skills that is required for the roles? So simply the second command we're going to give ChatGPT based on the information. Yes, simply you don't have to say that. You just simply have to please create. So we are going to ask ChatGPT to create core expertise for us based on the information we provided. Make sure, remember, we have also added our experience above. So ChatGPT knows what skills we have, what experiences we added, the qualifications we have. See, we added the qualification. That is why the ChatGPT know I hold that certain position. So you have to make sure you're adding everything when you are giving the command to the ChatGPT. That could be very essential to create your CV, not missing out on anything. So please create 15 for expertise. Simple. ChatGPT understand things, but if you think that that is not something the ChatGPT is the prompt or the answer is not really accurate, so you can make certain changes. So see, I just gave ChatGPT a very simple command. So it gave me very specific skills that is uh, that is required by the roles I'm looking to apply for, and this will give me an idea that what things and what skills I can use in the CV for my certain roles. So simply, if you would have those skills, or you have an understanding of those skills, you can add them, but have to make sure if these are entry level roles, so you're not adding something very going beyond that. You have to make sure that you know that. So, for example, in HR, whether it's an entry level role or it's an executive level role, there are certain policies that you must understand and you know how to comply with. So, in HR policies and compliance, recruitment and talent acquisition, it is something that can managers do. I am someone who is going to support it. So I can say recruitment support or recruitment and talent acquisition support, not directly, because I'm not the manager. I won't be the main person. So you have to make sure if you are doing something supportive and entry level, you're also add the skills in that certain area, not going beyond it. HR operations and administrations, performance management, or performance analysis, because you cannot add support to everything. You can keep things, a few of them that you already have. If you have the experience, you can add them. So compensation and benefit administration, process innovation and automation, something that I can do, applicant tracking system that I just told you, I have the understanding. So this is the skill required for both HR and CV writer. So I have it of being a CV writer. So it's going to give me an edge at adding this particular skill. Training and development support, onboarding, offboarding. So you can add, you have to add these skills. So I can just start. I'm going to show you an example that how you can add those skills. Always make sure you're not adding any tables in your CV because ATS cannot scan tables or any words that is in very creative or graphic. So you came across a lot of templates on Canva that has very colorful tables and everything. Don't use them. Use simple. If you don't find any of the templates like this, you can simply use black and white templates. You just have to do a bit of the work for that. So you can use those templates. And what I'm going to do, since I am a CV writer, I know how to create them. I'm gonna start adding the skills one by one. You can also make the changes, but because I have to cover whole CV, I'm not going to show you each and every changes. And I'm going to add at least 9 to 12 skills, which is relevant. So this is what how I'm going to do it. I'm going to add the space bar. You can add commas, but I would suggest you to add space bar like this. And then we're going to jump. Okay, one thing, if you have any technical qualifications or skills, even if it's Microsoft, I would suggest you to add it. After adding your specific skills for the role, you can simply say technical skills, Microsoft Office. Because we are living in the era of technology. So if you have anything that is relevant to your job, any technical skills you know, to add it, even though if it's Microsoft, so they would have the understanding that you know computer, you know things a bit and something like that. So in my role, I knew a lot of technical skills and that could be supportive in the HR field as well. So this is how I managed to add them. Everything, Microsoft Office Suite, LinkedIn Recruiter, Slack, Trello, Gmail, Calendar, Monday.com. These are the platforms where I worked on being a CV writer. So I added them because they would give me an edge. And now the second thing you can do, the third thing, which is revamp my job, my professional experience, and make sure you start a work. So now what we are doing here, we are commanding ChatGPT to revamp our job description. If you have already worked in any certain roles, you're going to command ChatGPT to revamp the job description you have, but make sure you're starting it with a verb. Make sure you're not going to add my experience. I know you are always going to start it with a verb, something you are doing, some action you were taking, not responsible for, no potential for handling this, nothing like that. If you have already done that, you're going to make sure that you are um, showing your contribution toward past employers. It's not like simply just narrating tasks, like copy pasting the job description you have done. You are going to transform it in a way that it shows you as an achiever, that what things you were trying to achieve or the actions you were trying to do with a verb, and make me stand out as an achiever. Simple. So the chat GPT Smart going to revamp the roles that I have already mentioned above. But though I created those roles on my own and I did everything the chat GPT, I commanded chat GPT to do, but this is just to show you what you can simply do. So ChatGPT can take its time. So we're gonna let the ChatGPT take its time. So this is my first experience. ChatGPT is creating it. So whatever you would give ChatGPT the command, the ChatGPT would do it accordingly. But make sure there the CV writer comes, because the thing the CV writer can do with the job description, the AI won't be able to do it. But as I told you in the beginning, you can start it by giving it a try, the ChatGPT. It's gonna work for you, but of course, uh, not like a resume writer would create a version for you, but still something that can work for you. So this is something ChatGPT created, but most of the times ChatGPT uses the same wording, making a bit of the tweaks. This is why I'm saying here comes the the resume writer, where you would require it. But it's simply you can do it. I have another version of a CV where there are very blunt rules, just like simple wording, just like that. Manufacturing industry, because most of the CVs are this CVs which I have to revamp. Most of the information is in this way. You have to make sure if the role is past, then it is the past work managed, uh, constantly exceeded sales. If you're adding any achievement, if you are, for example, it's the present role, you will simply say not responsible for create and deliver demos. But if it's something that you have done one time and it's an achievement, so even in the present role, it should be in the past wording, starting with the past verbs, created and delivered, exceeded sales by this person. So this is something you can do. Command ChatGPT and add your own spices. This is just to demonstrate you how ChatGPT it could be simply using my words and making a bit of the tweaks, but it can help. So you would simply copy paste each and every job description, your professional experience, and add it in the relevant template. Then add your education, technical skills. You're going to go through each and every section that if you're missing on something, if you have, for example, you don't have a lot of experience in the specific role you're going to target, but you have some volunteer experience to get a job, I would suggest you to have something. You cannot bluntly start with being very blank, get the certifications, get volunteer experience whatsoever, but do something to support you for that particular role. So that's it. And I think, of course, if you have some, for example, in certain cases, my clients give me some information just like this. They haven't specified technical skills. They haven't told any specific skills they have. What I would do, I would ask ChatGPT, simple, extract technical tools from my CV. So if you are unsure that this could be a technical skill or not, just simply ask ChatGPT to extract that particular information for you. ChatGPT would do it. So this is how you can effectively use it. So these are the technical skills, ATS, HR information. These are all the technical skills that ChatGPT has crafted for me. So also ChatGPT won't just simply extract the technical skills, but also would specify what skills are used for what certain role. For CV and HR, it says I'm going to use this. For writing and editing tools, I'm going to say it's going to. How would you write it in the CV? Just let me give you a demo. You're going to just simply copy and paste that here. So it was our, so we are going to make sure that the technical skills area is a bit different than the core skills above. So we're going to highlight it, hold it, sorry, and then simply add that particular skill. We're going to add in the bracket, we're going to add all the skills here. I'm going to make sure that we are avoiding the other areas. So you have to have a bit of the command for that over the Microsoft Office Word files. And you're going to simply add those skills that is required in a particular way. The video editing platform, just exclude any information that is not really desired or required or create it just a wordy impact. Just make sure that you're adding this. So if it's Microsoft Office suite, we can segregate that, but we can also include it. Just add Microsoft Office suite to avoid a lot of wording here, and simply add comma and then simply add that main skill like this, writing and editing, and then adding this in the bracket. So this is how you can do it. Or you can simply just add the tools without adding these. It's totally up to you, your level of experience and everything. Your title, add your phone number, email, LinkedIn, the URL. I would also suggest you to simply add a URL of your LinkedIn profile. And how would you do it? So this is simply my profile. Instead of adding your big text of LinkedIn profile, simply, I'm sorry, my laptop is a bit slow. I don't know why. Simply, for example, this is the link. Copy the profile link. Go here and add LinkedIn URL, because this is how you would make recruiter understand that there is a link here. You would simply do it by adding the link. And there's the link. So whenever they would touch it, they would know that this is the LinkedIn profile. So I think I try to cover as much as I can to make sure you and make you understand how you can use ChatGPT effectively. And I really want to answer your questions if you have any. So, let's just start them. I was not able to see the messages before.
Okay, we're into our question and answer period. Thank you so much, Syeda Batool Saidi. This is a lot of information. One student in the chat said that you're going very fast. There's a lot of information. Could you slow down? And I just said that we are recording this, and they can go back and look at the recording and pause on different screens, and then look what you did. But then go back and you have to listen to this over and over again, because there were a lot of sections where she went through information very fast. But that's the idea, give you all the information, but then you can go back and look at the recording. It's like taking notes. So you have all of your notes, all of the recording. You can go back and just look at them over and over again and learn. You have to apply. There's a lot of information to apply, right? Like, let me ask you this. Did you cover everything about resumes today?
Yes, I tried my level to cover that, even though I have a presentation with me, but it is simply something that I would have to go and back to the presentation. So I tried my level best to stick to the practical aspect of the work. So that's it.
So do they have a link to where they can find this template for a resume? The students?
Um, I don't really think so, because most of the templates I have, they are of the companies using the templates, and I'm working for them as a resume writer. So what I can do for you guys, if you can simply reach out to me, I would try my level best, because I have a lot of templates to extract a few for you, and because I cannot provide anything at the moment here, you can reach me out here. I'm just am I allowed to give my LinkedIn link here? So if the students would need the template or something, they can reach out to me.
Yeah, you can put your LinkedIn, you can put your email. It's actually good for the students to be able to contact you if they have questions when they're putting together their own assignments and their own projects.
Yes. So for I am seeing a lot of questions here. Can we have a CV example to complete in Word? So I can give you a template. If you can reach out to me with the reference of this class, I can definitely give you an entry level template for you for the beginning that you can use. So that's going to help, I guess.
Well, I have a few questions. Well, one question I have is, what do you think is a good length for a resume?
Yes, very good question. If for the entry level and if you don't have ample of experience, you have to, for example, you have worked for the two roles for like 3 to 4 years, stick to the one page resume, because we are going to make sure there are no blank spaces in the CV. Because if you would apply and it's sort of like 1.5 page and then the half page is blank, that is not going to give a very good impression. But if you have experience more than 5 years or 6 or 7 years, so we have to make sure we are covering at least 1.75 of the page, like 2 pages. For the entry level, very entry level, and you have a few things to add, one page template is the best.
What's your opinion about putting pictures or even your own photograph on a resume?
No, no, don't add photographs because it's not the practice that the recruiters like. You don't have to add any photographs, even if you're from UK, US, wheresoever. There are certain regions, for example, Gulf, where they add CVs, but we pictures, but we suggest them not to do it because it's not a very good practice.
Do you suggest having the same font for the whole text in the resume?
Yes, to ensure consistency, you have to make sure the font style is the same. For the heading sections, the font size is the same. For all the contents, you have to make sure there's consistency of the margins and each and everything.
And what size font do you recommend?
So it depends on what font style you're using. If you're using Calibri and you have a lot of information, you want to cover it on one page, you can do 10.5 size. But if there's something you think that I don't have a lot of information, but I still want to cover, so you can go to 11, but not 11.5. I won't suggest you to go beyond 11. This is for the text, the main information, but you, of course, for the headings you can go like 12 to 14 to differentiate them.
Do you suggest different text colors on the resume?
No, I won't suggest that, but yes, you can do it for, but not very colorful. For example, in my CV, you can see I have used blue color for my certain roles. So just like you can add a one color, but make sure that it looks good and it goes with the template you are using.
And then how long should the summary be? Like 100 words or more or less?
Uh, there's not as such rule for the words, but you have to make sure that it's not going beyond the 5 lines. You have to calculate the summary after exploring. It's not more than the 5 lines because it gets really wordy.
Okay. And as far as personal information, you'd have like your phone number, your email. Do you put your address on there?
Yes, but just the city and the state, not very detailed, or the zip code. You can also add the zip code, but not more than that.
But not the exact precise
Yes,
address, because you don't want to give out too much personal information, right?
yes, and it's not a very good practice. It's not considered as a very good practice.
Okay. Yeah, those are some of the kind of important details of a resume.
Yes. So these are
And I know that usually when you give a resume, you also include a cover letter.
yes.
Do you want to come back and talk about how to do a cover letter in your next presentation?
Yes, I can do that. Even though if the students would have something really general and specific and they want to know in the future session, you can also come to me that they are most interested in knowing this. Could be LinkedIn because I have already covered the LinkedIn aspect as well. But if they wanted to know more generally and specifically or whatsoever, you can just come to me and tell me that they are most interested in this. So I can cover that.
Yeah, how important is the cover letter?
So it is important based on the role you're applying for. For the entry level, I would say that it's fine if you add it. It could be at, but the chat GPT can create a whole cover letter for you as well. You simply have to command it and make some changes. So chat GPT can do that simply. So it is good. It will give you an edge.
When it comes to looking at your your jobs, how far back do you want to go? And do you only want to include jobs that are relevant for the job that you're seeking?
So you have to cover 10 to 15 years of your experience. So it depends. If you have a lot of specific experience and you have worked for like a few months, the chunks of other jobs, you can exclude them. But you don't, if you do not have any relevant experience and you say, I have to mention I did something, so you have to add those experiences as well. But you mostly we do add 10 to 15 years of experience, whatsoever roles you have done.
And
And
go ahead.
start by adding your recent role you're doing and then go after the role you did before and then on so and on.
And as far as references, do you like to put people's names and phone numbers on your resume, or do you just say contact me if you want references?
Yes, because we do not add references. It's an old practice. We simply say the references would be provided when needed and simply have a reference word file and add those details. If the recruiter would require that, simply send them the references list or that information.
Okay, I don't see any. Everybody wants in chat. I just see people saying send the presentation to my email. So, I
Yeah,
mean, what you can do if you can you upload your presentation to the chat and then they can just click on it and download it?
yes, I can do that.
But
Just a
remember,
minute.
everybody, it's probably better to look at the recording and then
Even
just come. You
very
look at
good presentation ready. I'm very sorry. Sorry. You can see that I have a very good presentation ready, but it was everything that I covered. So just to go back and forth, so I can add the presentation. He would like it. It has everything I covered.
Yeah, so you really didn't show your presentation. You just went through the examples. That's why I
I
think going back and looking at the recording is probably the best thing to do.
Yes, but I am going to send my presentation here. It is because my laptop got a bit slow and going back and forth. I think it would have more time because it would be explaining more than doing less. So I tried my level best to do and practically show you how you can do it. I'm attaching the presentation. You can see it. And I would also send you the presentation later on for the recording purposes.
Can you just go ahead and I'm trying to go through a little summary of the points that you went through.
Yes,
Can you just give a brief summary of hard skill, soft skill?
yes. So the points by on the presentation, right?
Yes.
So this is the understanding of ChatGPT key elements of CV, which I told you is your summary section, your skills, and your professional experience section. And then this is tips of effective use. This is something you can go through yourself and you would understand with the recording. First impression typically employers you have to make sure that the CV is neat and clean. You're using Calibri. Don't use Time New Romans or something font style like that. They are not very eye catchy. So showcase your skills and expertise. You cannot miss out on this section saying that I'm adding my summary so I can skip that. No. So you have to make sure that you're differentiating yourself as a candidate by adding every key element like technical skills, like I told you, you can simply segregate them, make them stand out and something like that. Landing interviews, uh, required materials and tools for CV creation. So it's your computer or smartphone, but do it on computer, smartphone. It's not going to help you a lot. Personal information, prepare a list of your education and skills, which we covered and we did. Job description, you can just do it on simple word file, add everything and then give the command to the chat GPT. Understanding CV competencies component, sorry. So it's like you have to make sure you're covering summary, skills, technical skills, your professional experience, your education sections. These are the components that you have to cover and add in the CV. So your contact information would be your name, email, phone, and LinkedIn profile. objective statement. Craft, so this is by default added here, objective statement. It's going to be the summary, your education, your experience, your skills and references. So provide a list of professional contacts, not in the summary or not in the resume or CV, separately provide them. So this part is also to make sure that you're not going to add them. Gathering your information, your the educational background, work experience, skills inventory, whatever skills you already have. You can simply add rough skills in the Word file where you're gathering your all information that I have the skills while before giving the command to the chat GPT. Accomplishment, for example, you got the award of Employee of the Month, or you got recognized in your university. You can simply in the Word file add my personal accomplishments and add those accomplishments in that Word file. And the job description, of course, if you have worked somewhere, you can also add your job description provided by them or the one you already have in your CV. Generating CV content with ChatGPT, input your data, request CV sections like we did step by step. First summary, then skills, then technical skills, then professional experience and all. You have to refine them. You cannot simply copy paste them. You have to make some certain changes. Use prompts effectively. So make sure that you're giving command as per the information you needed. And example prompts. You can simply go to the section after that to give the to know about the prompts as well. Or there's no hard and fast rule for the prompts, but you have to make sure you're adding everything customized for each application. That's what I said. If you're applying for different roles, you have to make sure you are customizing them accordingly, not going to use same CV. Adjust formatting. You have to also adjust formatting. For example, if you have worked creating your CV again for another job and there's something that you have to add, so you have to adjust your format, adding every section according to the template and the layout and the format of your CV. Maintain authenticity. You have to make sure every information is correct and reflect your experience, nothing that you are creating on your own. So overloading the information. These are the mistakes that you should avoid. You're not going to overload the information by adding anything that is not relevant. For example, interest and hobbies. Don't add interest and hobbies. They are not interested in them and will give a bad impact. This is not a practice that is being used. So this is overloaded information. Example of overloaded information. Generic content, tailor your CV to each application. That's what I told you, not a simple generic summary or information for all the different roles. Spellings and grammatical errors, make sure you're not having any spelling or grammatical error, because this would give the bad impact right away in your CV. So have to proofread and cross check again and again before applying the role. Ignoring layout, ensure your CV is well formatted and easy to read. So you're not like simply going to add anything anywhere. You have to make sure there's a consistency throughout the CV, enough space that it doesn't look very wordy and not very much spaces where it would say there are the blank spaces everywhere. So you have to make sure that it's consistent. Missing content information, contact information. So this is, of course, you have to avoid. Make sure on the second page you're also adding your name, and if it's on the second page, if you're adding a second page, so you're also adding your name, your number, because in some cases, if they would have a hard copy of your CV, or you would be applying for a role with a hard copy and they miss the second page or first page. So every information is on the second page available to contact you anywhere. So this is you where you work a bit more smartly. Final touches before submission, review and edit. Make sure going through all the information that you have added everything. There are no mistakes. Get feedback. You can simply go to any professional on LinkedIn, come to me. This is the CV I created. You can also come to me and say, this is the version I created. How would you review it? So I would try my level best to review it and give you an instant feedback on it. Save in multiple formats. So of course, when you're applying for the role, make sure you're applying in the PDF version and have a Word file version with you as well. That could you can add it in the future later on. So apply with the PDF version, but always have Word file to edit it whenever it is needed. When prepare for submission, you can also have a customized cover letter for each role. For example, again, as for the CV, you can then use a generic CV for all the roles. So you can also not use generic cover letter. You have to customize each and every cover letter before applying. And this is a wrap up where is importance of a CV. CV plays a very crucial role because recruiter would not know you, what skills you have, experience you are capable, even though if you are, your CV can tell the recruiter. So you have to make sure you're adding everything necessary required for the CV. Gathering information, gather all the information you can, your skills, expertise, political experience, rewards, accomplishments, everything. Generating content with ChatGPT. Make sure ChatGPT is an AI tool, not human, won't be 100% right. So you have to use your human aspect here while using ChatGPT. If something you think doesn't make sense, don't add it. Finalizing the document, finalize the documents, and simply that was the question section for you guys. I tried my level best to cover it again, but that was everything which I covered before, but that was
Now, many students go online to like a place like Upwork, where they're going to get jobs online. People will contact them, see their resume, and then say, "Okay, I have some work for you," and then do a contract online. Um, is the resume any different for that, or is it just the basic same resume?
uh, sorry for Upwork. Upwork, you have a proposal to submit.
Right. It's like you put yourself out there on Upwork and maybe as an accountant. And so as companies are looking for someone to do some contract work, they're contacting the different websites of the different people who do accounting, and then they'll go to your website and pull up your resume and look at it. Is it the same resume or would you change it a little bit?
Entirely, because in the C it's a very different language, and when it Upwork, it's all about your creativity. So if you go to my Upwork profile, you would see me very differently. But if you would review my CV, I'm a very different person. So there you would have to make sure your creativity is there. There's no hard and fast writing rule as CV because there's an ATS, recruiters, but you can use as much as creativity while on Fiverr, on Upwork. So that's really different.
Now, if somebody wants you to do their resume for them, that's your business. So you would charge them. Could some of the students ask you to prepare a resume for them
Yes. So
in a
ask my review that I have to just simply review your CV. That's what I can do free of cost. But of course, I run a business and I am occupied. So if you would be needing, I have my Fiverr account where I charge very minimal for students and for entry level graduates. So they can, if they would reach out to me on LinkedIn, I would simply direct them to the Fiverr account, that particular gig that you can go and apply here. But if you would want my review, I would do it free of cost. That these are the loopholes. You can make certain changes and all.
Now, many of our students will they'll create a business where they'll write business plans for people, but they could also include writing resumes and cover letters and other documentation for people. So if you're going into a business, anybody, where you're providing documents for other people, like Syeda, go ahead and learn this craft of how to do a resume and study it, practice it, get the templates, and go through this presentation very carefully because there's a business opportunity here for you. Would you agree, Saida?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you. But one thing I would add here, since the ChatGPT and AI took over in the beginning of my journey, I had a lot of work. I have created more than 5,000 CVs so far, not exaggerating it, just telling you the facts because I have worked for the companies where they had a lot of flow of work and we used to work a lot on the CVs. But with the passage of time, the AI, the writing, and the resume is something is getting very difficult to hold off it and get into the field. I would suggest the students, if they're very looking for a business opportunity, learn some technical skills. That is going to have like social media management, something like that. There you can simply get more projects, but now in CV writing or resume, it's getting a bit difficult to get as much as work. You can do it as a business. So these are the hard facts, but I really want to say facts.
So there is an opportunity there, but you have to understand the skills that are needed to really make it successful.
Yes, the skills, and you have to do a lot of hard work to get the things rolling in this particular field. But of course, it's a good business. People still are earning a lot from it.
Yes. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Safo, you had your hand up there for a second, but I don't see you anymore. Are you still here? Safo, do you, there you go. Okay, go ahead and ask your question. Activate your microphone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Sahu.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, when you are doing the CV or the resume under the work experience, do you put what you did as your responsibility or the roles that you played while you are working in that organization, or you put the achievement when you are performing the roles?
Okay, so the question is simple. Let me give you an example by my CV, my professional experience. So you can see here, I have two sections here. One is the paragraph, and one is the bullet point section. So you have to add everything you did in that role. But if it is something like really a lot of information, then you have to exclude something that does not contribute, but you have to add everything. So this is the section where I added my routine task, like I used to do this and that. And this is the section when I segregated by saying these are the achievements I did to make my achievements stand out. For example, employee of the month, I got promotion, something, anything like that that can make you stand out. So you have to add your accomplishments in key contribution section in the bullet form to make them stand out. But you cannot exclude all the other information. So you have to create a paragraph form which is not more than 5 lines to avoid the wording impact. And this is how you can cover all the work you did, your responsibilities, but not say I was responsible for that, because responsibility doesn't really shows anything in your contribution. It says that you are responsible, but you're not, who knows that you did it or not. I hope I answered your question.
Okay, thank you. You answered my question. Thank you.
Okay,
problem.
thank you, Safo. Let's go to CC. CC Jules.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hello.
So, like I already posted in the chat box, for the job hunting, we need CV techniques design techniques in addition of all academic testimony of job. So I want to know for this sub-question, is there any standard CV design template, unique one, or we have many of template of CV standard CV? And we will need also, we will need to join the job certificate and so on. So what kind of this the employer is requiring? We have to send all this attachment to the CV. And the last question is the interview techniques also, to be, if you are planning for the next session in interview techniques. This is very important again, in addition to the CV techniques.
Okay. So you asked 3 questions. I'm going to try my level best to answer them. First is the standard. Yes, there's a specific standard for the template, but it could vary. But the standard is summary, the professional summary, skills, professional experience, your education. That is the basic standard. But when you have like 15 years of experience, so we can make a minor tweaks. If you have your education and don't have any prior experience before, then what we will do, we will change a bit of the standards, and we're going to make sure the education is on the top after the summary section to make your education highlight more to the recruiters. So there is no hard and fast rule to make the changes. It's all about creativity. It's all about what we are emphasizing more in the CV. So you can simply use a standard one, but because I am a CV writer, I know where I can make changes and the tweaks. So this is going to be a bit complicated, but you can use the standard one. And the second question you asked was
Job
the interview
certificate. The join,
certificate.
the join to the CV, the certificate.
No,
What kind? The
you
standard way.
yeah, you don't have to add any attachment to the CV, but you can add your all the certifications that is required for the role. In the education, after education section, you can add simply, if you have a lot of certifications, simply create a section named certifications. Just add the name of a certificate and from where you get it, the institute. Don't add all the other details. I did this in there, I did this in there, and the year and all. Simple the certificate and the institute. That's it.
Okay, and interview techniques now.
Yes.
Did you plan? Did you plan for a session for this interview techniques?
I can do that, but for very answering your question for LinkedIn interview techniques, you have to make sure you know every single word in your CV and you know everything about you for the role you are going to apply for. So and also you have to be very specific while answering the questions. You cannot tell them the stories and do not go beyond what is asked. So you have to be very specific and don't be nervous. So that's a whole different
Okay,
session.
excuse me. The last session is you can be skilled, you can be a strong background from academic side and so on and professional side. Then your CV can prove, or your writing CV can prove to employer. In this case, in such case, what can you do?
I'll tell you, sometimes I've seen the CVs, they give the very wow factor, but the person has no specific skills and the person is poor in the experience section. So you still have a very good background and also a very good CV. If you have a very good background and your CV is not telling anything about it, so there's no use because recruiters are going to judge you based on your CV.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Awesome.